Officer Marcus Webb's hands trembled as he cut the rope. A 6-year-old girl bound to a rotting pavilion post duct tape over her mouth, tears streaming down her face. She had been missing for 48 hours. Everyone assumed the worst. But Shadow found her. The Belgian Malinois stood guard, growling at the shadows, refusing to leave her side. And when Marcus finally freed her, she whispered 4 words that would haunt him forever. The gardener took others. What Shadow would uncover next would expose a nightmare no one saw coming. Before we continue, hit subscribe and stay until the very end. Comment your city below. I love seeing how far these stories travel. Marcus Webb knew something was wrong the moment Shadow refused to get in the car. 4 years. 4 years they had worked together, and not once had the Belgian Malinois disobeyed a direct command. Not once. Shadow was the most disciplined K9 in the Maplewood Police Department. He had tracked drug runners through swamps. He had cornered armed suspects in pitch-black warehouses. He had found a missing Alzheimer's patient in a snowstorm when everyone else had given up. But this morning, Shadow planted his feet on the pavement and would not move. "Shadow, load up." The dog whined, his ears flattened, his eyes locked onto something in the distance toward Riverside Park, toward the section that had been closed for 2 years. "Shadow, car, now." Nothing. Marcus crouched down, gripping the dog's collar. "What's going on with you, partner?" Shadow turned and looked at him, not with defiance, with desperation, with urgency, with something that looked almost like fear. And then Shadow did something he had never done before. He pulled free and ran. "Shadow." Marcus sprinted after him, boots pounding against the sidewalk, heart hammering against his ribs. The dog was faster than Marcus remembered, tearing across the parking lot and into the park like his life depended on it. No, like someone else's life depended on it. Marcus keyed his radio as he ran. "Dispatch, this is Unit 7. My K9 just bolted into Riverside Park Eastern section. I'm in pursuit. Might need backup." Static crackled. Then a voice. "Copy that, Unit 7. Everything okay?" "I don't know yet." He didn't, but his gut was screaming at him. 16 years on the force had taught him to trust that feeling. The feeling that something terrible was about to happen, or already had. The eastern section of Riverside Park had been abandoned for 2 years. Budget cuts killed the renovation project, and the city just fenced it off and forgot about it. The playground equipment rusted. The pavilion rotted. The trails disappeared under weeds and fallen branches. Nobody came here anymore, which made it the perfect place to hide something. Marcus pushed through the overgrown brush, following the sound of Shadow's barking. Sharp, urgent, desperate. The kind of bark that meant the dog had found something serious. Shadow. The barking grew louder, more frantic. And then Marcus heard something else. A child crying. His blood froze. That sound. That specific sound. It reached inside his chest and grabbed his heart with an iron fist. 3 years ago, he would have given anything to hear his daughter cry one more time. Just one more time. But Annie was gone. A drunk driver. A Tuesday afternoon. A pink bicycle twisted under the wheels of a pickup truck. Gone. Marcus forced himself to move. His legs felt heavy, like they were filled with concrete, but he pushed forward, through the brush, past the rusted swing set, toward the old pavilion. And then he saw her. A little girl. Blonde hair matted with dirt. Blue eyes wide with terror. Rope wrapped around her small body, binding her to a wooden post. Duct tape over her mouth, muffling her screams. Shadow stood in front of her, hackles raised, teeth bared, growling at something in the trees. Marcus's training took over. He drew his weapon, scanning the area. "Maplewood Police. Anyone here, show yourself now." Silence. Only the child's muffled sobs. Marcus holstered his gun and rushed to her side. "It's okay, sweetheart. I'm a police officer. I'm going to get you out of here. You're safe now." Her eyes were wild with fear. She thrashed against the ropes, crying harder. "Shh, shh, I know you're scared, but I need you to hold still so I can cut these ropes. Can you do that for me?" She stopped moving. Her chest heaved with rapid breaths, but she nodded. Marcus pulled out his knife and started cutting. The rope was thick, coarse, the kind used for tying boats. Whoever did this knew what they were doing. They didn't want her to escape. What's your name, sweetheart? He peeled the duct tape from her mouth as gently as he could. She gasped for air, then whispered, Emma Sullivan. Marcus's heart stopped. Emma Sullivan, the little girl who had been missing for 48 hours, the one whose face had been on every news channel, every social media post, every missing persons bulletin in the county. 6 years old, disappeared from a birthday party at this very park, right here. She had been right here the whole time. Emma, you're safe now. I've got you. He finished cutting the ropes and lifted her into his arms. She weighed almost nothing. She was trembling so hard he could feel it in his bones. Marcus keyed his radio. Dispatch, this is Unit 7. I found her. I found Emma Sullivan. She's alive. I need ambulance and backup at Riverside Park Eastern Pavilion. Now. The radio exploded with voices, questions, confirmations, coordinates. But Marcus barely heard any of it. He was looking at Emma's face, at the tears cutting through the dirt on her cheeks, at the raw fear in her eyes. Emma, can you tell me who did this to you? She buried her face in his shoulder and sobbed. It's okay. You don't have to talk right now. You're safe. But then she spoke, her voice so small, so broken that Marcus almost missed it. The gardener. Marcus went still. What did you say? The gardener took me. He said no one would find me here. What gardener? Emma. What's his name? She shook her head violently. I don't know. He wears green. He has a green truck. He said he was going to take me somewhere far away. Marcus's jaw tightened. Take you where? To the others. The word hit him like a punch to the gut. Others. Emma, what others? What do you mean? But she was crying too hard to answer. She clung to him, her small fingers digging into his uniform, her entire body shaking with sobs. Shadow pressed against Marcus's leg, whining. The dog kept looking toward the trees, toward something Marcus couldn't see. It's okay, boy. We got her. She's safe. But Shadow wouldn't calm down. He kept sniffing the air, kept turning in circles, kept whining like there was more, like the job wasn't finished. Marcus trusted that instinct. Shadow seek. The command was simple. Find more. Track more. Show me what I'm missing. Shadow took off immediately, nose to the ground, weaving through the underbrush. Marcus followed, still carrying Emma, his mind racing with questions. Others. She said others. What did that mean? Were there more children? More victims? And who the hell was the gardener? Sirens wailed in the distance. Backup was coming. But Shadow wasn't waiting. The dog stopped at the edge of the pavilion near a patch of disturbed earth. He pawed at the ground, whining louder. Marcus knelt down, still holding Emma. What is it, boy? What did you find? Shadow barked once. Sharp. Urgent. Marcus looked closer. The ground here was different. Fresher. Like someone had dug recently and tried to cover it up. His stomach turned. Dispatch, I need forensics at my location. There's disturbed earth near the pavilion. Shadows indicating. We might have more. The radio crackled. Copy that, Unit 7. Forensics en route. Marcus stood up, holding Emma tighter. It's okay, sweetheart. Help is coming. But Emma wasn't looking at him. She was looking at the trees, at something behind them. He's watching, she whispered. Marcus spun around, weapon drawn. Nothing. Just trees. Just shadows. Just the wind rustling through dead leaves. Emma, do you see someone? She pointed with a trembling hand. He was there. The gardener. He was watching. Marcus's heart pounded. He keyed his radio again. Dispatch possible suspect in the area. Male described as wearing green, driving a green truck. Unknown name. Suspect may still be on scene. Request all available units to Riverside Park immediately. Copy Unit 7. Units responding. Marcus backed toward the main path, keeping his weapon up, keeping his body between Emma and whatever might be out there. Shadow growled low in his throat, eyes fixed on the tree line. I know, boy. I feel it too. Someone was watching them. Backup arrived in minutes. Patrol cars flooded the parking lot. Officers swarmed the eastern section. Paramedics took Emma from Marcus's arms, wrapping her in a blanket, checking her vitals, asking her gentle questions. But Marcus couldn't stop looking at the trees. He was here. The gardener. He was right here, watching the whole time. Detective Sarah Chen appeared at his side. She was small, sharp, with eyes that missed nothing. She had been with Maplewood PD for 12 years, and Marcus had never seen a case she couldn't crack. Hell of a find, Webb. Marcus shook his head. Shadow found her, not me. The dog gets the credit then. She glanced at Emma, now being loaded into an ambulance. She say anything? She mentioned a gardener. Male, wears green, drives a green truck, said he was going to take her to the others. Sarah's expression darkened. Others. That's what she said. Jesus. Sarah ran a hand through her hair. You think there's more victims? I think Shadow found disturbed earth near the pavilion. Forensics is on it now. Sarah stared at him. You think there's bodies? I don't know what I think, but Shadow's never wrong. An hour later, forensics confirmed Marcus's worst fear. They didn't find bodies. They found something almost worse. A bunker. Hidden beneath the old maintenance shed, accessible through a rusted hatch, buried under 2 years of debris, was a concrete room. 10 feet by 10 feet. No windows. One bare light bulb. A mattress on the floor. Children's shoes in the corner. 3 different sizes. And on the wall, scratched into the concrete with something sharp, were names. Emma S. Tyler, M. Lily, R. Jacob, W. 4 names. 4 children. They had only found 1. Marcus stood at the edge of the bunker, staring down into the darkness. Shadow sat beside him, quiet, now his job done. But the dog kept looking at Marcus, kept nudging his hand like he knew this was only the beginning. 3 more, Marcus whispered. There are 3 more kids out there. Sarah appeared beside him, her face pale. I just ran those names. Tyler Mitchell, 7 years old, disappeared from this park 8 months ago. Lily Robinson, 5, disappeared 14 months ago. Jacob Wallace, 6, disappeared 2 years ago, right after the park closed for renovation. 2 years. He's been doing this for 2 years. At least. Marcus felt sick. 2 years, 4 children, right under everyone's nose, right in a public park. Who's the gardener? He demanded. Who works maintenance here? Sarah pulled out her phone, scrolling through records. Park maintenance is contracted to the city. Let me check the roster. A pause. Her face went white. Victor Crane. He's been the primary groundskeeper for this park for 5 years. Address, running it now. Marcus turned and headed for his car, Shadow at his heels. Webb, wait. We need to coordinate with... 3 kids are missing Chen. I'm not waiting. Victor Crane lived in a small house on the edge of town. The kind of house that nobody noticed. The kind of house where nobody asked questions. Marcus pulled up with 3 backup units. They surrounded the property. He pounded on the door. Victor Crane, Maplewood Police, open up. Silence. He pounded again. Victor Crane, we have a warrant. Open this door now. Nothing. Marcus nodded to the officer beside him. They breached. The door flew open. Officers flooded inside, weapons drawn, clearing each room. Clear, clear, clear. Empty. The house was empty. But Shadow wasn't done. The dog pulled Marcus toward the garage, barking frantically. Marcus kicked open the side door. Inside was a green truck, an old Ford pickup covered in mud, the bed filled with landscaping tools, and in the passenger seat, a child's backpack. Pink, with unicorns on it. Emma's backpack. He ran, Marcus said, staring at the backpack. He saw us find her and he ran. Sarah was already on her phone. I'm putting out a bolo. Victor Crane, male, approximately 50 years old, brown hair, medium build, armed and dangerous. Wanted in connection with multiple child abductions. He's got a head start. We'll find him. Before or after he takes another kid. Sarah didn't answer. She didn't have to. Marcus crouched beside Shadow, running his hand through the dog's fur. "You did good today, partner. Real good." Shadow whined softly, pressing closer. "But we're not done yet. Those kids are still out there. Tyler, Lily, Jacob. They're counting on us." Shadow looked up at him with those intelligent brown eyes. Marcus nodded slowly. "Let's go find them." They returned to the bunker as night fell. Forensics had finished their initial sweep, but Marcus needed to see it again, needed to understand what kind of monster they were dealing with. He climbed down the ladder into the concrete room, Shadow waiting at the top. The smell hit him first. Must. Decay. Fear. The smell of children who had been kept in darkness, wondering if anyone would ever find them. The mattress was stained. The walls were scratched, not just with names, but with marks. Tally marks, counting days. Marcus counted them. Emma's wall had 48 marks, 2 days. But another section of wall had over 700. Someone had been down here for almost 2 years. His phone buzzed. Sarah. "Webb, we got a hit on Crane's background. You need to hear this." "Go ahead." "Victor Crane doesn't exist. The name, the social security number, the employment history, it's all fabricated. Someone created this identity 5 years ago, right before he started working at the park." Marcus's blood ran cold. "Who is he really?" "We don't know yet. His fingerprints aren't in any database. No criminal record, no military record, nothing. It's like he appeared out of thin air." "That's impossible." "I know. But here's the thing, his previous address before Maplewood. It's a vacant lot in Columbus. The one before that, a condemned building in Toledo. This guy's a ghost." Marcus stared at the scratches on the wall. "Ghosts don't abduct children." "No, but people who don't want to be found do." Shadow barked from above. Marcus climbed out of the bunker to find the dog standing rigid, staring toward the parking lot. A car had pulled up. A woman stumbled out, running toward them, screaming, "My daughter! Where's my daughter?" Officers intercepted her, but she fought them, clawing, desperate. "Emma! Emma!" Marcus recognized her from the news. Linda Sullivan, Emma's mother. He jogged over, holding up his hands. Mrs. Sullivan, please. Emma is safe. She's at Maplewood General. She's asking for you." Linda collapsed against him, sobbing. "She's alive. She's really alive. She's alive. She's scared and tired, but she's alive. Shadow found her." Linda looked at the dog through her tears. Shadow approached, slowly, tail low, and pressed his nose against her hand. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you." But Marcus couldn't feel relieved. Not yet. Not with 3 names still scratched into that concrete wall. At the hospital, Marcus stood outside Emma's room, watching through the window as Linda held her daughter. Emma was hooked up to monitors and IV in her arm, but she was smiling. Weak, exhausted, traumatized, but smiling. A nurse approached him. "Officer, she's been asking for you. And the dog." Marcus looked down at Shadow. "Us. She says the dog saved her life. She wants to thank him." Marcus hesitated. Then he pushed open the door. Emma's face lit up when she saw Shadow. "Puppy." Shadow's tail wagged as he approached the bed. He rested his chin on the mattress, and Emma reached out with a small hand to pet his head. "He found me," she said. "Everyone else gave up, but he found me." Marcus's throat tightened. Shadow never gives up. It's not in his nature. Emma looked at Marcus with those big blue eyes. "Are you going to find the others?" "What others, Emma?" "The ones in the pictures." Marcus went cold. "What pictures?" "In the room, the dark room. There were pictures on the wall. Other kids. The gardener said they were his collection." "How many pictures, Emma?" She held up both hands. "All 10 fingers. 10, not 4, 10. Marcus gripped the bed rail to steady himself. "Emma, did you see where the gardener went? Did he say anything about where he was going?" She shook her head. "He just said, He said the truck was coming. The big truck. To take us all away. Take you where? Far away. Where no one would find us ever again. Marcus burst out of the room, phone already at his ear. Chen, we've got a bigger problem. Emma says there are 10 kids, not 4, 10. And there's a truck. He's planning to move them. Move them where? I don't know, but we need to find Victor Crane, tonight, before that truck shows up. We've got units searching every... It's not enough. He's been doing this for years. He knows how to hide. We need something else. We need... Marcus looked down at Shadow. We need to track him. Track him how? We don't have his scent. We have his truck. We have the backpack. Shadow can work with that. A long pause. You think it'll work? Shadow found Emma when everyone said she was dead. Yeah, I think it'll work. So, they returned to Victor Crane's house. Marcus held Emma's backpack in front of Shadow, letting the dog memorize the scent. But he also let Shadow smell the truck, the steering wheel, the seat where Victor had sat for 5 years. Find him, boy. Find the gardener. Shadow circled the garage. Once, twice. Then his head snapped up. His ears perked forward, and he took off running. Marcus followed. Shadow led him through the backyard, over a fence, across a drainage ditch, and into an industrial area that bordered the edge of town. Old warehouses, abandoned factories, the kind of places where screams got swallowed by silence. Shadow stopped in front of a chain-link fence topped with barbed wire. Beyond it, a sprawling warehouse with broken windows and a faded sign, Maplewood Storage Co. The dog barked once, sharp, certain. He's in there. Marcus radioed for backup, but he didn't wait. He found a gap in the fence and slipped through Shadow at his side. The warehouse loomed ahead, dark and silent, but not empty. Marcus could see light flickering through one of the broken windows. Movement, shadows. Maplewood Police, he shouted. Victor Crane, come out with your hands up. The light went out. Footsteps, running, away from him. Shadow, go. The dog shot forward like a bullet, disappearing through a side door. Marcus followed, weapon drawn, heart pounding. Inside the warehouse, the darkness was absolute. He flicked on his flashlight, sweeping the beam across rusted machinery and collapsed shelving. Shadow was barking somewhere ahead, frantic, furious, and then Marcus heard it. Children crying. He ran toward the sound. Through a maze of corridors, past locked doors, down a flight of stairs he didn't know existed, and there in a basement room he found them. 3 children huddled in the corner. Tyler Mitchell, 7, Lily Robinson, 5, Jacob Wallace, 6, alive, terrified, but alive. Shadow stood guard in front of them, teeth bared at the darkness beyond. It's okay, Marcus said, his voice cracking. I'm a police officer. You're safe now. You're all safe. But as he reached for his radio to call in the rescue, a voice echoed from the shadows. You shouldn't have come here, officer. Marcus spun around. Victor Crane stepped into the light. He was holding a gun, and he was smiling. Put it down, Crane. It's over. Over. Victor laughed. It's never over. Do you have any idea what you've stumbled into? This is bigger than me. Bigger than this town. Bigger than anything you can imagine. I don't care how big it is. You're under arrest. You can't arrest what you can't catch. Victor raised the gun. Shadow launched. The dog hit Victor's arm just as he fired. The shot went wide, ricocheting off the concrete. Victor screamed as Shadow's teeth sank into his flesh, dragging him to the ground. Marcus kicked the gun away and pinned Victor down. You're done. It's over. But Victor was still laughing. Even with Shadow's jaws locked on his arm, even with blood running down his wrist, he was laughing. You found 3, he gasped. But there are 7 more. And by tomorrow morning, they'll be gone. Shipped out. Disappeared. And you'll never find them. Marcus grabbed him by the collar. Where are they? Wouldn't you like to know? Backup arrived. Paramedics took the children. Officers hauled Victor Crane away in handcuffs. But Marcus couldn't move. 7 more. There were 7 more children out there. and Victor Crane was the only one who knew where. Sarah appeared beside him, her face grave. "We'll interrogate him. We'll break him. He's not going to talk. You saw him. He thinks this is a game." "Then what do we do?" Marcus looked at Shadow. The dog was sitting beside the 3 rescued children, letting them pet his fur calm and patient, despite the chaos around him. "We do what Shadow does," Marcus said. "We don't stop. We don't give up. We find them." He walked over to the dog and knelt down. 7 more, partner. Can you find them?" Shadow looked at him with those intelligent brown eyes. Then he stood up, shook himself off, and started sniffing the air. The hunt wasn't over. It was just beginning. Victor Crane sat in the interrogation room like a man on vacation, arms crossed, legs stretched out, that smile still plastered on his face like he knew something everyone else didn't. Marcus watched through the 2-way mirror, his fists clenched so tight his knuckles had gone white. Shadow sat beside him alert, watching the same man with the same intensity. "He's enjoying this," Sarah said, stepping up beside Marcus. 3 hours of questioning and he hasn't given us a single name, a single location, nothing. "He knows where those kids are." "Of course he does, but he's not talking." Marcus turned away from the glass. "Then let me try." "Webb, you're too close to this. You found Emma. You found the bunker. You're emotionally compromised." "I'm the only one he'll talk to." Sarah hesitated. "What makes you think that?" "Because I'm the one who ruined his plan. He wants to gloat. He wants to see my face when he tells me I'm too late." Sarah stared at him for a long moment. Then she nodded. 10 minutes. And if he lawyers up, you walk." Marcus pushed through the door. Victor's smile widened the moment he saw him. "Officer Webb, the hero of the hour. How does it feel to be famous?" Marcus pulled out the chair across from him and sat down slowly. "Where are the other children?" "Straight to business. I respect that." 7 kids, Crane. 7 kids who are scared alone waiting for someone to save them. Tell me where they are." Victor leaned forward, his eyes glittering with something dark. "Why would I do that?" "Because it's the only thing that might keep you off death row." Victor laughed. "Death row, officer. I'm not going to death row. I'm not going anywhere." "Do you have any idea who you're dealing with?" "A child trafficker. A monster. A man who's going to spend the rest of his life in a concrete box." "Wrong." Victor's smile faded. "I'm a businessman. A middleman. A cog in a machine so big you can't even see the edges. You think arresting me changes anything? There are 100 men ready to take my place. 1,000. The children move whether I'm here or not." Marcus's jaw tightened. "Who do you work for?" "Now that's the right question. Answer it." Victor leaned back, studying Marcus like he was a puzzle to be solved. "You lost a daughter, didn't you? 3 years ago. Car accident. Annie wasn't it." Marcus went cold. "I do my research, officer. I know everyone in this town. I know their secrets, their weaknesses, their pain." Victor's voice dropped to a whisper. "I know what it feels like to lose a child, to have them ripped away from you, to wake up every morning wondering why you're still breathing when they're not. Don't you dare talk about my daughter. I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm trying to help you understand." Victor's eyes never left Marcus's face. "I had a daughter once. Beautiful girl. 7 years old. She was taken from me. Sold. Shipped overseas like cargo. I spent 10 years looking for her. 10 years. Do you know what I found?" Marcus didn't answer. "Nothing. I found nothing, because the people who took her were ghosts. Untouchable. Protected by money and power and a system that doesn't care about missing children." Victor's voice hardened. "So I became one of them. I joined the machine. I learned how it works. And I made them pay. Every child I took, every sale I made, I was dismantling them from the inside, gathering names, building evidence. You expect me to believe you're some kind of vigilante. I expect you to believe that the world is more complicated than good guys and bad guys. Victor smiled again. But you don't have time for philosophy, do you? The truck is coming, midnight tonight, and when it leaves, those 7 children disappear forever. Marcus grabbed Victor by the collar, yanking him across the table. Where? The old train depot, east side of town, but you'll never get there in time, not without help. What kind of help? Victor's smile turned into something almost sad. The kind that comes with a price. Marcus released him, stepping back. What do you want? I want immunity, full immunity. In exchange, I'll give you the depot, the truck, and every name in my contact list. The whole network. Dozens of arrests, hundreds of rescued children. You're insane if you think I'm your only chance. Victor stood up, chains rattling. Decide fast, officer, the clock is ticking. Marcus stormed out of the room. Sarah was waiting. Well, he says the kids are at the old train depot. Truck's coming at midnight to move them. Do you believe him? I don't know, but we can't afford not to. Sarah checked her watch. That gives us 4 hours. Then we better move. Shadow was already on his feet, ready. Marcus looked down at his partner. One more, Hunt Boy. One more. Shadow barked once. Let's go. They drove across town with sirens off. No need to alert anyone that the police were coming. If Victor was telling the truth, there would be people at the depot, armed people, people who wouldn't hesitate to kill children rather than let them be rescued. Marcus's phone buzzed. Sarah. We've got a problem. Victor's background check came back. His real name is David Mercer. 15 years ago, his daughter was abducted from a park in Cincinnati. Case went cold. He disappeared 2 years later. Resurfaced as Victor Crane in Maplewood. So his story's true. The daughter part, yeah. Whether he's really been taking down the network from inside or just profiting from it, that's another question. Does it matter right now? It matters if he's leading us into a trap. Marcus gripped the steering wheel tighter. It's a risk we have to take. The train depot loomed ahead, abandoned for decades. The kind of place that showed up in nightmares. Broken windows, rusted tracks, the smell of decay hanging in the air. Marcus parked 100 yards out and killed the engine. Shadow's ears went flat. His nose twitched. He knew. Something's there, Marcus whispered. Sarah's voice crackled through the radio. SWAT's in position. We go on your signal. Marcus clipped Shadow's tactical vest into place. You ready, partner? Shadow's eyes locked onto the depot, focused, determined. Let's bring them home. They moved in silence. Marcus and Shadow took point, weaving through abandoned rail cars using the shadows for cover. SWAT flanked from both sides. As they approached the main building, Shadow stopped. The dog's body went rigid. His hackles rose. A low growl rumbled in his throat. Marcus held up a fist. Everyone froze. Shadow was staring at a side door, cracked open, light flickering inside. Marcus signaled to SWAT. 2 officers moved to breach position. 3, 2, 1. The door flew open. Police, nobody move. Chaos erupted. Shouts, screams, the sound of running feet. Marcus burst through the doorway, Shadow at his heels. Inside he saw them. 3 men in black masks scrambling for weapons, and behind them in a makeshift cage built from chain-link fencing were children. 6 of them, huddled together, crying. Not 7, 6. Where was the 7th? Freeze, hands in the air. One of the masked men raised a gun. Shadow launched. The dog hit the man's chest with devastating force, knocking him backward. The gun clattered to the floor. Shadow's jaws clamped onto the man's arm and he screamed. Marcus tackled the second man before he could reach his weapon. They crashed to the ground, rolling, fighting. The man was strong, desperate, throwing punches that connected with Marcus's jaw, his ribs. But Marcus had something the man didn't. 16 years of rage, 3 years of grief, and a promise he intended to keep. Marcus pinned the man down and slammed his fist into his face. Once, twice, until the man stopped moving. SWAT secured the 3rd suspect. The room fell silent except for the children's sobs. Marcus rushed to the cage. It's okay. I'm a police officer. You're safe now. You're all safe. He cut the lock with bolt cutters and pulled the gate open. 6 children stumbled out. 6 terrified, exhausted, broken children. But only 6. Marcus grabbed the nearest suspect by the collar. "Where's the seventh kid?" The man laughed through bloody teeth. "You're too late." "Where is she?" "Gone. The boss took her an hour ago. Special delivery. She's worth more than the others." Marcus's blood turned to ice. "Worth more? What does that mean?" "Pretty little thing. Blonde hair. Blue eyes. The buyers pay extra for that." Marcus dropped him and turned to Sarah. "Victor said there were 7. One's already gone." Sarah's face went pale. "Gone where?" "I don't know, but I'm going to find out." He stormed back toward Victor Crane, who was being held in a patrol car nearby. Marcus yanked the door open. "You said midnight. You said all 7 would be here." Victor's smile was gone. "They moved early. Someone tipped them off." "Who?" "Could be anyone. A cop, a dispatcher, someone in the system who's on the payroll." Victor leaned forward. "I told you this network is bigger than you know. You can't trust anyone." "I trust Shadow, and he's going to find that girl." "The dog won't be enough. Not this time." Marcus grabbed Victor's collar. "Then help me. You said you want to take down the network. Prove it. Tell me where they took her." Victor studied him for a long moment. "There's a safe house. 20 miles north. Old farmhouse on Miller Road. That's where they take the special ones before transport. But you'll need more than a badge to get in." "What do I need?" "A miracle." Victor's eyes hardened. "Or someone who knows the codes." "You know them." "I know everything. But my cooperation comes with a price." "No immunity." "Then that little girl dies." Marcus stared at him. Every instinct screamed not to trust this man. Every fiber of his being wanted to put a bullet between those cold, calculating eyes. But Emma's face flashed in his mind, and Tyler's, and Lily's, and the 6 children he had just rescued, and the ones still out there. "Fine," Marcus growled. "But if you're lying to me, if this is a trap, I will personally make sure you never see the inside of a courtroom. Do you understand me?" Victor smiled. "Perfectly." Sarah grabbed Marcus's arm as he headed for his car. "Webb, you can't do this. You can't make deals with child traffickers." "I just did." "The DA will throw out the entire case. Crane will walk." "Maybe. But that little girl won't die." Marcus looked at Shadow, already loading into the vehicle. "And that's all that matters right now." He got in the car and pulled Victor Crane into the back seat. "Miller Road, 20 miles north. Talk." Victor leaned back calm as ever. "The farmhouse is guarded. 2 men outside, 2 inside. They rotate every 6 hours. The girl will be in the basement. Locked room, steel door. You'll need a code to get in." "What's the code?" "I'll tell you when we get there." Marcus floored the accelerator. 20 miles. 20 miles between him and a little girl who was running out of time. Shadow pressed against the cage divider nose, twitching eyes locked on the road ahead. "We're coming," Marcus whispered. "Hold on. We're coming." The farmhouse appeared in his headlights like something out of a horror movie. Isolated, dark, the kind of place where screams disappeared into empty fields. Marcus killed the lights and coasted to a stop a quarter mile out. "How do we get in?" he asked Victor. "Front door, walk right up. Tell them you're here for the special delivery. When they ask for the password, say Cardinal sends his regards." "Cardinal?" "The man at the top, the one nobody sees." Victor's voice dropped. "He's been running this network for 20 years. Untouchable. But if you're lucky, you might get a name tonight." Marcus looked at Shadow. "You ready, boy?" Shadow's answer was a low growl. "Stay in the car," Marcus told Victor. "If I'm not back in 15 minutes, the backup units will take you straight to lockup." "I'll be waiting." Marcus stepped out of the car. The night was silent. Too silent. No insects, no wind, just the distant hum of something mechanical. A generator. The farmhouse had power, which meant someone was home. Marcus approached the front door, Shadow heeling at his side. His hand rested on his weapon, but he didn't draw. Not yet. He knocked. Footsteps inside, a bolt sliding back. The door opened a crack. A man's face appeared. Hard eyes. Scarred cheek. The the kind of face that had seen violence and enjoyed it. "Who the hell are you?" "I'm here for the special delivery." Marcus kept his voice steady. "Cardinal sends his regards." The man's eyes narrowed, then slowly he smiled. "You're early. She's not ready yet. Cardinal doesn't like to wait." "Cardinal can kiss my ass." But the man stepped back, opening the door wider. "Come in." "But the dog stays outside." Marcus shook his head. "The dog goes where I go. That's not how this works." "It is tonight." The man hesitated. Then he shrugged. "Your funeral." Marcus stepped inside. The farmhouse was sparse, bare walls, minimal furniture. The kind of place designed for temporary use, a way station, a holding cell. Two men sat at a table in the kitchen playing cards. They looked up when Marcus entered. One reached for a weapon. "Easy," Marcus said. "I'm just here for the girl." "Basement," the first man said. "Door at the end of the hall. Code is 7749. Marcus nodded and walked toward the hallway. Shadow stayed close, Hackle's raised teeth bared. The basement door was steel, just like Victor said. Marcus punched in the code. The lock clicked. The door swung open. Stairs descended into darkness. Marcus pulled out his flashlight and started down. The basement was cold, damp. The smell of mold and fear hung in the air. And there, in the corner, huddled on a bare mattress, was a little girl. Blonde hair, blue eyes, no more than 5 years old. She looked up at Marcus with terror in her eyes. "It's okay," he whispered. "I'm a police officer. I'm here to take you home." She didn't move, didn't speak. Shadow approached slowly, tail low, and pressed his nose against her hand. The girl flinched. Then slowly her fingers curled into Shadow's fur. "Puppy," she whispered. "That's right. His name is Shadow, and he's going to keep you safe." Marcus scooped her into his arms. She weighed almost nothing. "What's your name, sweetheart?" "Mia." "Okay, Mia. We're going to get you out of here, but I need you to be very quiet. Can you do that?" She nodded, burying her face in his shoulder. Marcus climbed the stairs. The hallway was empty, too empty. He rounded the corner into the living room. All three men were waiting, guns drawn. "Nice try, Officer Webb." The scarred man smiled, but Cardinal called ahead. He doesn't like surprises. Marcus's heart stopped. "How did you... Your friend in the car. He's been working for us the whole time." Victor. Victor had set him up. Shadow lunged before Marcus could react. The dog hit the nearest man, knocking him down, jaws tearing into flesh. Gunfire erupted. Marcus dove behind the couch, shielding Mia with his body. Bullets tore through the fabric, missing them by inches. He drew his weapon and returned fire. One man down, two left. Shadow had the second pinned, but the third was circling, trying to get a clear shot at Marcus. "Give it up, officer, you're outgunned." Marcus looked at Mia. Her eyes were squeezed shut, tears streaming down her face. He thought of Annie, of the last time he held her, of the promise he made at her grave. Never again. He would never let another child die. Shadow release. The dog let go of his target and sprinted toward Marcus. "On me, boy! On me!" Marcus burst from cover firing as he ran. The third man took a bullet to the shoulder and went down screaming. Marcus didn't stop. He kicked open the back door and sprinted into the night, Shadow at his heels. Mia clutched to his chest. Behind him, shouts. More gunfire. But Marcus kept running. He didn't stop until he reached the car. He threw open the back door. Empty. Victor Crane was gone. And in his place, scrawled on the seat in what looked like blood, were 2 words: Cardinal knows. Marcus's hands were shaking as he strapped Mia into the back seat. The little girl was silent now, her eyes vacant, staring at nothing. Shock. Pure shock. He had seen that look before on soldiers, on accident survivors, on people who had witnessed things no human should ever see. "You're safe now, Mia. I promise." She didn't respond. Shadow jumped into the front seat, his fur matted with blood that wasn't his own. The dog was panting hard, but his eyes were alert, scanning the darkness for threats. Marcus grabbed his radio. "Dispatch, this is Webb. I need immediate backup at my location. Miller Road Farmhouse. Multiple suspects down. I have a rescued child. And Victor Crane has escaped. Repeat, Victor. Crane has escaped. Static crackled, then Sarah's voice. Webb, what the hell happened? It was a setup. Victor was working with them the whole time. He fed us the location to draw us out. Cardinal knows we're coming. Cardinal? Who's Cardinal? I don't know yet, but he's the one running this whole operation. Where are you now? Marcus looked around. Dark fields, empty road, no landmarks. About 15 miles north of town. I'm bringing Mia in. She needs medical attention. We'll have units meet you en route. And Webb. Yeah. Be careful. If Cardinal knows you're involved, you're a target now. Marcus ended the call and floored the accelerator. The words written in the back seat burned in his mind. Cardinal knows. A warning, a threat, a promise that this wasn't over. Victor Crane had played him, used him, fed him just enough truth to make the lies believable. And now the bastard was in the wind, probably calling his contacts, probably warning everyone in the network that a cop named Marcus Webb was tearing their operation apart. Good. Let them know. Let them come. Marcus was done playing defense. Mia whimpered in the back seat. Marcus glanced in the rearview mirror. She was curled into a ball, hugging her knees, rocking back and forth. Hey, Mia, can you hear me? A tiny nod. I know you're scared. I know tonight has been the worst night of your life, but I need you to hold on just a little longer. Can you do that for me? Another nod. Good girl. Shadow's going to stay with you. He won't let anyone hurt you. Okay. Shadow turned in his seat and pressed his nose through the gap, touching Mia's hand. She flinched at first, then slowly, tentatively wrapped her fingers around his snout. Soft, she whispered. Yeah, he's the softest tough guy I know. The hint of a smile crossed her face, just a flicker. But it was enough. Marcus drove faster. 20 minutes later, he pulled into the hospital emergency entrance. Paramedics swarmed the car before he even cut the engine. They lifted Mia onto a stretcher, checking her vitals, asking questions she couldn't answer. Sarah was waiting by the door. 7 children rescued tonight. 6 from the depot, 1 from the farmhouse. But we still have a problem. Victor. Not just Victor. Sarah handed him a tablet. We traced the burner phone found at the bunker. The last number it called belongs to a prepaid cell registered to a shell company. That shell company is owned by another shell company. And that one is owned by a non-profit called Children's Brighter Future Foundation. Marcus stared at her. A children's charity. Founded 12 years ago, they run after-school programs, summer camps, youth mentorship, all in low-income neighborhoods, all targeting vulnerable kids. Who runs it? Sarah's jaw tightened. Richard Hayes. The name hit Marcus like a punch to the gut. City Councilman Richard Hayes. The same. Pillar of the community, champion of children's causes. Donated over $2 million to local schools in the last decade. And you think he's Cardinal? I think the evidence is pointing that way, but we need more. Hayes has connections everywhere. Police, politicians, judges. If we move on him without airtight proof, he'll walk, and then he'll disappear. Marcus looked at Shadow. The dog was watching him, waiting, always waiting for the next command. Then let's get the proof. They drove to the station. Marcus needed access to records databases, anything that could connect Richard Hayes to Victor Crane and the trafficking network. But when they arrived, something was wrong. The station was chaos. Officers running, phones ringing, voices shouting over each other. Marcus grabbed a passing deputy. What's going on? Someone leaked the case to the press. The whole thing. The bunker, the children, Victor Crane. It's all over the news. Who leaked it? We don't know. But Hayes is already on TV denying any involvement. He's calling it a witch hunt. Says you're a rogue cop, trying to frame him. Marcus's blood boiled. Frame him? I just rescued 7 kids from his operation. That's not what he's saying. And people believe him. He's got lawyers, PR teams, the whole machine working to bury this. Sarah stepped in front of Marcus, blocking his path. Webb, stop. Think. If you go after Hayes right now, you'll be playing right into his hands. He wants you to look unhinged. He wants you to make a mistake. So would I just let him walk? No. We build our case, properly, with evidence he can't refute. While more kids disappear, we saved 7 tonight, that's not nothing. Marcus turned away, his fists clenched. She was right. He knew she was right. But every second that passed was another second Hayes could cover his tracks, destroy evidence, silence witnesses. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. He answered. Webb. A voice. Distorted. Electronic. Officer Webb, I hear you've been causing trouble. Who is this? Someone who's been watching you. Someone who's impressed by your persistence. Someone who can help you bring down Richard Hayes. I don't need help from anonymous callers. Yes, you do, because Hayes knows you're coming. He's already moved the remaining evidence. By morning, there won't be anything left to find. Marcus gripped the phone tighter. What evidence? Financial records, transactions, a paper trail that leads from his charity to offshore accounts in the Caymans. But there's a physical backup. Hayes is paranoid. He keeps hard copies of everything. Where? His private office. Not the one at City Hall. The one at his estate. 3rd floor, safe behind the bookshelf. Combination is his daughter's birthday, October 15th, 2008. Why are you telling me this? A pause. Because Hayes destroyed something I loved, and I want to watch him burn. The line went dead. Marcus stared at the phone. His mind raced. This could be a trap, another setup like the farmhouse. But if it wasn't, if those records actually existed... Webb. Sarah was watching him. What was that? A lead. Maybe. Someone claims Hayes keeps financial records at his private estate. Hard copies that prove his involvement. And you believe them? I don't know, but I can't ignore it. Breaking into a city councilman's estate, Webb, that's career suicide. Evidence obtained illegally. Won't be admissible, I know. Marcus met her eyes. But if I can confirm the records exist, we can get a warrant. Do this the right way. And if it's a trap? Marcus looked at Shadow. The dog was on his feet, ears forward, ready. Then I've got backup. He drove to the Hayes estate, a sprawling mansion on the outskirts of town surrounded by manicured lawns and a wrought iron fence, the kind of place that screamed money and power. Marcus parked a block away and approached on foot. Shadow moved beside him, silent, alert. The fence was 8 feet tall, topped with security cameras, but Marcus had been studying the layout on his phone during the drive. There was a blind spot near the east corner where the camera angle didn't quite cover. Come on, boy. They slipped through. The estate was quiet. Too quiet. A single light burned on the 3rd floor. Hayes's private office. Marcus circled to the back of the house, a service entrance used by staff. The lock was old, easy to pick. He was inside in 30 seconds. Shadow's nose twitched. The dog was picking up Sense Cleaner food cologne. And something else. Something that made his hackles rise. Fear. Someone in this house was afraid. Marcus moved through the darkened hallways, following the layout he had memorized. Kitchen, dining room, stairs. He climbed to the 3rd floor. The office door was closed. Light spilled from underneath. Marcus pressed his ear against the wood. Voices. 2 of them. Hayes and someone else. Can't just make this disappear, Richard. Webb has 7 witnesses now. 7 children who can identify your people. Children don't make credible witnesses. They're traumatized, confused. Any decent lawyer will tear their testimony apart. And Victor Crane? He knows everything. Crane is a liability. He'll be dealt with. How? The same way we deal with all liabilities. Marcus's blood ran cold. They were planning to kill Victor. He pulled out his phone and started recording. What about the records? The second voice asked. The financials. Already being moved. By tomorrow morning, there won't be a single piece of paper connecting me to this operation. And the children still in the pipeline. Accelerated schedule. They'll be out of the country by week's end. Marcus's hand trembled. More children. There were more children. Richard, are you sure this is wise? Webb is unpredictable. Webb is a broken man clinging to a dead daughter's memory. He's emotional, irrational, easy to discredit. By the time he realizes how deep this goes, it'll be too late. Marcus had heard enough. He kicked open the door. Hayes spun around his face, contorting from shock to fury in an instant. The other man, Marcus, recognized him. Judge Walter Thompson, one of the most respected jurists in the county. Officer Webb. Hayes recovered quickly, his voice smooth as silk. Breaking and entering, trespassing. I believe that's grounds for termination. Recording a conspiracy to obstruct justice and commit murder. I believe that's grounds for arrest. Marcus held up his phone. The recording was still running. Hayes's eyes flickered to the device. That won't be admissible, illegally obtained. Maybe, but it'll be enough to get a warrant. And when we tear this place apart, we'll find everything. The records, the accounts, the names of every child you've sold. Hayes smiled. It was the coldest smile Marcus had ever seen. You have no idea what you're dealing with, officer. I've been doing this for 20 years. I've survived investigations, audits, even FBI inquiries. Do you really think one cop and his dog can bring me down? I think you underestimate Shadow. Hayes laughed. The dog, please. The dog found Emma Sullivan when everyone else gave up. The dog found your bunker, your depot, your farmhouse, your victims. Marcus stepped closer. And now the dog is going to help me find every child you've ever taken. Hayes's smile faltered, just for a second. But Marcus saw it. Fear. Guards! Hayes shouted. Footsteps thundered up the stairs. Marcus grabbed the phone and ran. He burst through a side door onto a balcony. 3 stories up. No way down. Shadow barked frantically. The guards were coming. 5 of them, armed. Marcus looked over the railing. A pool below. Maybe deep enough. Shadow jump. The dog hesitated for only a heartbeat. Then he launched himself over the railing. Marcus followed. The water hit him like concrete. Cold, dark, disorienting. He kicked toward the surface, gasping for air. Shadow was already swimming toward the edge. Move, boy, go! They scrambled out of the pool and sprinted across the lawn. Gunshots rang out behind them, bullets tearing up the grass. Marcus didn't look back. He hit the fence at full speed, boosting himself over. Shadow squeezed through a gap at the bottom. They ran until their lungs burned, until the sound of pursuit faded, until they reached the car. Marcus collapsed into the driver's seat, soaking wet, heart pounding. He looked at Shadow. The dog was drenched, shivering, but his eyes were bright with something that looked almost like triumph. Good boy, Marcus gasped. Good boy. He pulled out his phone. The recording was still there, intact. Hayes's voice clear as day, confessing to everything. Marcus called Sarah. Chen, I've got him. Hayes confessed on tape. He's planning to move more children out of the country by week's end. And Judge Thompson is involved. Silence. Sarah. Webb. Her voice was strange. Tight. Where are you? Just left Hayes's estate. Why? There's been a development. Victor Crane just walked into the station. He's asking for you. Says he wants to make a full confession. A confession? After he set me up. That's not all. Sarah's voice dropped. He says he knows where Cardinal is. The real Cardinal, and it's not Richard Hayes. Marcus's blood went cold. If Hayes isn't Cardinal, then who is? He won't tell anyone but you. Sarah paused. Webb, I don't trust this. It could be another trap. Probably is. Marcus started the car. But those kids are running out of time. If Crane knows something that can save them, I have to find out. Be careful. Always am. He drove to the station. Victor Crane was waiting in the same interrogation room, where Marcus had confronted him hours earlier. But this time the man looked different. Smaller. Older. Like the mask had finally slipped. Marcus sat down across from him. Shadow stayed by the door, watching. You've got 30 seconds to explain why I shouldn't let my dog finish what he started at that farmhouse. Victor smiled weakly. Because I'm going to give you the biggest arrest of your career. You already gave me Hayes. Hayes is nothing. A puppet. A front man. The real power has been hiding in plain sight for 20 years. Then who is it? Victor leaned forward. Chief William Patterson. Marcus felt the world tilt. Patterson, the chief of police. The chief of police. The man who controls which cases get investigated and which ones get buried. The man who's been protecting this network since before you joined the force. The man who's been feeding information to Hayes every step of the way. That's impossible. Patterson's been a cop for 30 years. He's Cardinal. Victor's eyes were dead serious. Why do you think I never got caught? Why do you think the network has operated so smoothly for so long? Patterson knows everything. He's the one who recruited Hayes in the first place. He's the one who decides which children get taken and which ones get left alone. Marcus's mind reeled. Chief Patterson, the man who had promoted him, the man who had assigned him to the K-9 unit, the man who had stood beside him at Annie's funeral. You're lying. I'm dying. Victor coughed, and blood flecked his lips. The men at the farmhouse. They didn't just let me walk away. They made sure I wouldn't talk to anyone else. He pulled up his shirt, revealing a dark, spreading stain across his abdomen. Bullet caught me in the gut. I've got maybe an hour, so no Officer Webb. I'm not lying. I'm confessing. Everything I know, every name, every account, every safe house. But most importantly, I'm giving you Patterson. Marcus stared at the wound. It was bad. Very bad. Why turn on them now? Because of you. Victor's voice cracked. Because you reminded me of what I used to be. Before they took my daughter. Before I became one of them. Tears streamed down his face. I was a good man once, a father. I loved her more than anything. And when they took her, something inside me died. I told myself I was infiltrating the network to destroy it. But I wasn't. I was just surviving, profiting, becoming the monster I swore to fight. He reached across the table and grabbed Marcus's hand. But you didn't give up, you kept pushing. You saved those kids even when everyone told you it was impossible. You reminded me what it looks like to actually fight. Victor coughed again, more blood. So I'm giving you everything. Take down Patterson. Burn the whole thing to the ground. And maybe somewhere my daughter will know her father finally did something right. Marcus sat in silence for a long moment. Then he stood up. Stay alive long enough to testify. That's all I ask. Victor nodded weakly. I'll try. Marcus walked out of the room. Sarah was waiting. What did he say? Cardinal isn't Hayes. It's Patterson. Chief William Patterson. Sarah's face went white. Webb, if that's true, then we're all in danger. Everyone who's worked this case. Everyone who knows what we know. Marcus looked at Shadow. We need to move fast, before Patterson realizes Crane talked. But as the words left his mouth, the station lights flickered, then went out. Emergency sirens blared, and somewhere in the darkness, Shadow began to growl. The darkness swallowed everything. Marcus drew his weapon, his heart hammering against his ribs. Shadow pressed against his leg, the dog's growl, low and continuous, a warning that danger was close. Sarah, Marcus called out. I'm here. Her voice came from his left. What the hell is happening? Patterson, he knows. Footsteps echoed through the blackened hallway. Multiple sets, moving fast, moving toward them. We need to get Crane out of here, Marcus said. He's our only witness. The interrogation room is this way. Follow me. They moved through the darkness using the walls as guides. Shadow led the way, his nose twitching, his body tense. The emergency lights flickered on. Red, dim, just enough to see shapes moving at the end of the corridor. Men in tactical gear. 4 of them. Weapons raised. Contact! Marcus shoved Sarah behind a desk and opened fire. The corridor exploded with gunshots. Bullets tore through drywall, shattered glass, ricocheted off metal filing cabinets. Shadow barked furiously, but stayed low, obeying his training. Webb. Sarah was on her radio. Dispatch, this is Detective Chen. We have armed intruders in the station. Multiple shooters. Request immediate backup. Static. Nothing but static. They're jamming us, Marcus realized. We're on our own. One of the shooters advanced, laying down suppressive fire. Marcus returned 2 shots, catching the man in the chest. He went down hard. 3 left. Cover me! Marcus sprinted toward the interrogation room, Shadow at his heels. He kicked open the door. Victor Crane was slumped in his chair, blood pooling beneath him. His eyes were open, staring at the ceiling. Dead. No. No. Marcus checked for a pulse. Nothing. The wound in Victor's gut had finally claimed him, but there was something in his hand. A crumpled piece of paper clutched tight, even in death. Marcus pried it free. An address. Handwritten. 1847 Industrial Way, and beneath it 3 words. The children are here. Marcus stuffed the paper in his pocket and turned back to the door. Sarah appeared, breathing hard. Crane. Gone. But he left us something. Webb, we need to move. More are coming. They ran. The station had become a war zone. Officers were scattered, some fighting back, some pinned down. The tactical team moved with precision, professional, coordinated. This wasn't a rescue mission. This was an execution. Patterson was cleaning house. Marcus spotted the back exit. This way. They burst through the door into the parking lot. 2 more shooters were waiting. Shadow launched before Marcus could even react. The dog hit the first man with devastating force, jaws clamping onto his gun arm. The weapon clattered to the ground. Marcus tackled the second shooter, driving his elbow into the man's throat. They crashed to the pavement, rolling, fighting. The man was strong, trained. He got his hands around Marcus's throat and squeezed. Marcus's vision started to blur. He couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Then Shadow was there. The dog's teeth sank into the attacker's shoulder, tearing flesh. The man screamed and released Marcus. Marcus gasped for air, grabbed his weapon and put 2 rounds in the shooter's chest. Move! Sarah yanked him to his feet. They ran to the car. Marcus threw Shadow into the back seat and floored the accelerator before Sarah even had her door closed. Where are we going? She demanded. Marcus handed her the paper. Crane's last gift. He knew they were coming. He knew he wouldn't make it. So he wrote down the one thing that mattered. Sarah read the address. Industrial Way. That's the old warehouse district. Nothing's been there for years. Exactly. Perfect place to hide children before transport. Webb, we can't do this alone. Patterson has the whole department compromised. We don't know who to trust. We trust each other. We trust Shadow. Marcus met her eyes in the rearview mirror. And we trust that those kids are running out of time. Sarah was silent for a moment. Then she nodded. Okay, let's do this. They drove through empty streets, the city asleep, unaware of the nightmare unfolding in its shadows. Marcus's mind raced with everything he knew. Patterson was cardinal. The chief of police had been running a child trafficking network for 20 years. He had corrupted officers, judges, politicians. He had built an empire on the suffering of the innocent. And now he was trying to burn it all down to cover his tracks. But he had made one mistake. He had underestimated a broken cop and his dog. The warehouse loomed ahead, a massive structure of rusted metal and shattered windows. No lights. No movement, but Shadow was already alert, his nose pressed against the window, whining. He smells them, Marcus said. They're in there. How do we approach, Chapo? Front and back. You take the rear entrance. I'll go in through the loading dock. Shadow will track the children. And if Patterson's men are waiting, then we do what we do best. Sarah checked her weapon. On your signal. They separated. Marcus moved toward the loading dock, Shadow silent beside him. The dog's body was coiled with tension, ready to explode into action at any moment. The loading door was padlocked. Marcus shot the lock off and rolled under the rising metal. Inside, darkness. The smell of oil and rust and something else. Something familiar. Fear. Shadow's ears perked forward. He started moving, nose to the ground, following a trail only he could detect. Marcus, followed, weapon raised, every sense on high alert. They passed rows of abandoned machinery stacks of rotting crates, puddles of stagnant water. The warehouse was a maze designed to confuse, to disorient. But Shadow never hesitated. He moved with purpose, with certainty, leading Marcus deeper into the labyrinth. Then the dog stopped. A door. Heavy steel, multiple locks. And behind it, the faint sound of crying. Marcus's heart clenched. They're here. He examined the locks. Industrial grade. No way to pick them. No way to shoot them off. Chen, I found them. Steel door, heavy locks. I need breach equipment. Sarah's voice crackled through his earpiece. I've got a problem back here. 2 guards. Armed. Can you handle them? Already did. On my way to you. 2 minutes later, Sarah appeared with a portable ram. Together they slammed it against the door. Once, twice, 3 times. The locks gave way. The door swung open. And Marcus saw something that would haunt him for the rest of his life. Children. Dozens of them. Crammed into a space meant for storage, not human beings. They sat on bare concrete, shivering, crying, holding on to each other. Ages ranging from 4 to 12, boys and girls, all terrified. "Oh my God," Sarah whispered. Marcus stepped forward, his voice breaking. "It's okay. We're police officers. We're here to help you. You're safe now." A little boy at the front looked up at him with hollow eyes. "They said no one would ever find us." They were wrong. Marcus knelt down, meeting the child's gaze. "Someone very special found you." Shadow padded forward, tail low, approaching the children gently. One by one, they reached out to touch him, their terror slowly giving way to wonder. "Is he real?" a little girl asked. "He's real. His name is Shadow, and he's the one who led us to you." Sarah was already on her phone trying to get signal. "I need to call this in. Get ambulances, social workers, FBI. Patterson will intercept any call you make." Then what do we do? Marcus thought fast. "There's a reporter, Amanda Foster at Channel 7. She's been investigating corruption in the department for years. Call her, tell her everything. Make it public before Patterson can spin it. A reporter, Webb, that's our only option. Once this hits the news, Patterson can't bury it. He can't silence dozens of witnesses. He can't make this many children disappear." Sarah hesitated. Then she dialed. Marcus turned back to the children. 23 of them. 23 lives that had been stolen, hidden, prepared for sale. "I need you all to listen to me very carefully," he said. "We're going to get you out of here, but we have to move quickly and quietly. Can you do that?" Nods, scared but hopeful. "Good. Stay close to Shadow. He'll protect you." They started moving toward the exit. That's when the lights came on, blinding white. Marcus shielded his eyes, weapon up. And there, standing at the center of the warehouse, flanked by 6 armed men, was Chief William Patterson. "Officer Webb," Patterson's voice echoed through the space. "You've caused me a great deal of trouble tonight." Marcus pushed the children behind him. Shadow positioned himself in front of them, teeth bared, growling. "It's over, Patterson. The whole world's about to know what you've done." "Is it?" Patterson smiled. That same cold smile Marcus had seen on Hayes. "You think a reporter can stop this? You think public outrage will bring me down? I've survived worse. I've outlasted better men than you." "You won't outlast the truth." Patterson laughed. "The truth is, whatever I say it is. By morning, you'll be a rogue cop who kidnapped children and murdered fellow officers. The station attack. That was you, Webb. You snapped. PTSD from your daughter's death. Tragic, really. No one will believe that. Everyone will believe it, because I'll be the one telling the story." Patterson raised his hand. "Kill him. Kill the detective. Leave the children." The armed men raised their weapons. Marcus had 1 second to make a decision. He grabbed the nearest crate and hurled it toward the lights. Glass shattered. Darkness returned. "Run!" he screamed. Chaos erupted. Gunfire lit up the warehouse in strobing flashes. Marcus grabbed 2 children and sprinted toward the loading dock. Sarah had 3 more. Shadow herded the rest, barking, snapping, keeping them together. Bullets whizzed past Marcus's head. He returned fire blindly, trying to buy time. "Keep moving, don't stop." They burst through the loading dock and into the night. Police sirens wailed in the distance. News vans were already arriving Amanda Foster's team. "Get them to the vans!" Marcus shouted. "Get them on camera!" Sarah understood immediately. She ran toward the reporters, children in tow. "This is Detective Sarah Chen, Maplewood PD. These children were held captive by Chief William Patterson. We need ambulances. We need FBI. This needs to go live now." Cameras turned on. Lights blazed. Microphones extended. The story was out. Marcus turned back to the warehouse. Patterson was still inside, with his men, with the evidence. "Shadow with me." The dog didn't hesitate. They went back in. The warehouse was a battlefield now. Patterson's men were scattered, some trying to escape, some still fighting. Marcus took them down one by one. Headshot, center mass, clean kills, no hesitation. He was done being careful. He was done following rules. These men had stolen children. They had destroyed families. They deserved everything they got. Shadow found Patterson first. The chief was trying to slip out through a side exit when the dog cornered him. Shadow's growl was pure menace teeth gleaming in the dim light. Patterson raised his weapon. "Call off the dog Webb, or I put a bullet in his head." Marcus stepped out of the shadows. "You won't. You know what happens if you do." "Do I? What happens?" "Officer, you arrest me. Testify against me. Who's going to believe you? I'm the chief of police. I'm a hero. You're a grieving father who lost his mind. I've got 23 witnesses who say otherwise. Children, traumatized, confused children. Their testimony will be torn apart. I've got Victor Crane's confession. Crane's dead. But his words aren't." Marcus pulled out his phone. He recorded everything before he died. Names, dates, accounts, all of it. And I've already sent copies to every major news outlet in the country. Patterson's face went pale. "You're bluffing. Try me." For a long moment, no one moved. Patterson's gun wavered between Marcus and Shadow. Sweat dripped down his temple. Then slowly his shoulders sagged. 20 years, he whispered. 20 years I built this. 20 years I protected it. And one cop and his dog bring it all crashing down. You brought it down yourself. The moment you touched those children, you were finished. Patterson's eyes met Marcus's. Something flickered there. Not remorse, not regret, just cold, empty acceptance. I won't go to prison. You don't have a choice. There's always a choice. Patterson raised the gun to his own head. Marcus lunged forward. No. The shot echoed through the warehouse. Patterson crumpled to the ground, blood pooling beneath his skull. Marcus stood frozen, his ears ringing, his heart pounding. It was over. But it didn't feel like victory. Shadow approached Patterson's body, sniffed it once, then turned away. The dog walked back to Marcus and pressed against his leg. Marcus sank to his knees. The weight of everything crashed down on him. The children, the deaths, the corruption, the years of suffering hidden behind a badge and a smile. He thought of Annie, of the promise he made at her grave, of all the lives he couldn't save. But tonight, he had saved 23. 23 children who would grow up, who would have futures, who would never know the nightmare that almost swallowed them. Because of Shadow. Because of a dog who never gave up. Marcus wrapped his arms around his partner and held on. "We did it, boy," he whispered. "We did it." Outside, the sirens grew louder. FBI agents swarmed the warehouse. Paramedics loaded children into ambulances. Reporters broadcast the story to a horrified nation. Sarah found Marcus still on his knees, still holding Shadow. "Webb, you okay?" He looked up at her with red-rimmed eyes. "Patterson's dead. Self-inflicted." "I heard." She knelt beside him. "The FBI's taking over. They're rolling up the whole network. Hayes is in custody. Judge Thompson, too. It's falling apart, Webb, all of it." "Good. You saved them. All those kids. You saved them." Marcus shook his head. "Shadow saved them. I just followed." Sarah smiled softly. "Then thank God you had a good partner." Shadow's tail wagged weakly. Marcus stood up, his legs unsteady. The night was fading, dawn creeping over the horizon. A new day, a new beginning. For the first time in 3 years, Marcus felt something he thought he had lost forever. Hope. He looked at Shadow. The dog looked back, eyes bright, loyal, unwavering. "Come on, partner," Marcus said. "Let's go home." They walked out of the warehouse together, leaving the darkness behind. But Marcus knew this wasn't the end. There were still children out there, still networks to dismantle, still monsters hiding in plain sight. And as long as Shadow could run, as long as Marcus could fight, they would never stop hunting. Never. 3 weeks had passed since the warehouse raid, but Marcus Webb still couldn't sleep through the night. He lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to Shadow's steady breathing from the foot of the mattress. The dog had barely left his side since that night, like he knew. Like he understood that Marcus was still fighting demons no one else could see. The phone rang at 4:47 a.m. Marcus grabbed it. "Webb. It's Sarah. We've got a situation." "What kind of situation?" "The kind you need to see for yourself. Meet me at the Federal Building. 20 minutes. She hung up. Marcus looked at Shadow. The dog was already awake, ears forward, eyes alert. "No rest for the wicked, huh?" Shadow's tail thumped against the bed. "All right, let's go." The Federal Building was crawling with FBI agents when Marcus arrived. Sarah met him at the entrance, her face tight with tension. "What's going on?" Hayes talked. Marcus stopped walking. "Hayes, Richard Hayes. The one and only. He's been in federal custody since the raid, refusing to say a word. Then last night, out of nowhere, he asked for a deal. Full cooperation in exchange for witness protection. And the feds agreed. They're considering it. But here's the thing, Webb. He's not just giving up names. He's giving up locations. Safe houses, transport routes, offshore accounts. The whole infrastructure." "That's good news. Why do you look like someone died?" Sarah stopped outside a conference room. "Because he's also giving up something else. Something that changes everything we thought we knew about this case." "What?" Sarah opened the door. Inside, a dozen FBI agents sat around a long table. At the head, handcuffed to his chair, was Richard Hayes. He looked smaller than Marcus remembered. Thinner. The arrogance was gone, replaced by something that looked almost like relief. "Officer Webb." Hayes' voice was hoarse. "I was hoping they'd bring you." "Why?" "Because you deserve to know the truth. The whole truth." Marcus sat down across from him. Shadow settled at his feet, watching Hayes with unblinking eyes. "Talk." Hayes took a deep breath. Patterson wasn't Cardinal. Marcus's blood went cold. "What?" Patterson was a decoy, a figurehead, someone to take the fall if things ever went wrong. The real Cardinal has been running this operation for over 30 years. Patterson was just the latest puppet. "Then who—" "Let me finish." Hayes' hands trembled. "When I first got involved, I thought I was working for Patterson. Everyone did. He gave the orders, handled the logistics, took the money. But there was always someone above him, someone we never saw, someone who controlled everything from the shadows." "A name Hayes. Give me a name." "I don't have one. Nobody does. Cardinal operates through intermediaries, coded messages, encrypted communications. Even Patterson didn't know who he really was." Marcus slammed his fist on the table. "Then what good is your information?" "Because I know how to find him." Hayes leaned forward. "There's a meeting. Once a year, Cardinal brings together his top lieutenants from across the country, face to face. No intermediaries, no encryption, just the people who run the regional operations. When, 3 days from now, where—" Hayes smiled weakly. "That's the part you're not going to like." Marcus waited. "Maplewood, right here in your backyard. The meeting is at the old Riverside Community Center, the building next to the park where you found Emma Sullivan." Marcus felt the room spin. The park. The place where this all started. The place where Shadow had first sensed something wrong. Why there? Symbolism. Cardinal likes to remind his people that he operates in plain sight, that he can hold a meeting of child traffickers in the same town where the biggest raid in history just happened and no one will ever know. Until now. Hayes nodded. Until now. Marcus stood up. "I want everything. Every detail about this meeting. Security attendees, arrival times. Everything. You'll have it. But Webb—" Hayes' voice dropped. "Be careful. Cardinal has survived for 30 years because he's smarter than everyone else. He's probably already planning his next move. And if he finds out you're coming, then I'll deal with it. Marcus walked out. Sarah caught up with him in the hallway. Webb, wait. You can't seriously be planning to go after Cardinal alone. I'm not going alone. The FBI's in. They want this guy as much as we do. But it's too risky. If Hayes is lying, if this is another trap, then it's a trap I'm walking into with my eyes open. Marcus turned to face her. Sarah, this man has been destroying families for 30 years. He's the one who built this machine. He's the one who trained Patterson, recruited Hayes, created a network that spans the entire country. As long as he's free, more children will suffer. More parents will lose their kids. More lives will be destroyed. I know, but there are no buts. This ends. Now. He looked at Shadow. And my partner agrees. Shadow barked once. Affirmative. Sarah sighed. Fine, but I'm coming with you. I wouldn't have it any other way. The next 3 days were a blur of preparation. FBI tactical teams studied the community center's layout. Surveillance units monitored every road leading into Maplewood. Marcus worked with federal agents to coordinate the raid, timing, positions, contingencies. But something nagged at him, a feeling he couldn't shake. It was too easy. Hayes' sudden cooperation, the convenient location, the perfect timing. Cardinal had survived for 30 years by being careful, by anticipating every move, by staying 3 steps ahead of everyone else. So why would he walk into a trap? The night before the raid, Marcus sat in his living room, Shadow at his feet. He was looking at a photograph of Annie, blonde hair, blue eyes, that smile that could light up a room. I miss you, sweetheart, he whispered. Every single day. Shadow whined softly and pressed his head against Marcus's knee. You know what keeps me going, boy. Knowing that somewhere out there another father is holding his daughter because of what we did. Another family is whole because you didn't give up. Shadow's tail wagged. But this Cardinal guy, he's different. He's not like Patterson or Hayes. He's the source, the origin. If we take him down, we don't just save a few kids. We save thousands, maybe tens of thousands. Marcus looked at the photo again. Is that worth dying for? Shadow barked. Yeah, I think so too. The morning of the raid dawned cold and gray. Marcus arrived at the staging area at 5 a.m. FBI agents were everywhere, checking weapons, reviewing maps, running through scenarios. Sarah approached with a tactical vest. You ready? Born ready. Liar. She smiled. You look like you haven't slept in a week. 3 days, actually. But who's counting? The operation commander gathered everyone for final briefing. Listen up. We have intelligence that Cardinal and his top lieutenants will be meeting at the Riverside Community Center at 0800. Our objective is simple: capture Cardinal alive. He has information that could dismantle trafficking networks across the country. We need him talking, not dead. Marcus thought of Patterson's body crumpling to the floor. The choice he made rather than face justice. What if he doesn't want to be taken alive? Then we use non-lethal force. Tasers. Rubber bullets. Whatever it takes. Cardinal is too valuable to lose. The teams moved out at 0630. Marcus rode in the lead vehicle with Sarah and Shadow. His heart pounded with each passing mile. They parked 3 blocks from the community center and approached on foot. Shadow's nose twitched constantly, picking up scents, cataloging information. How many inside? Marcus whispered to an agent with thermal imaging. 12 heat signatures clustered in the main hall. 12. Cardinal and 11 lieutenants. Any guards outside? 2 at the front door, 2 at the back, armed but not heavily. Marcus looked at Sarah. We go in through the roof access. Surprise them before they can react. The FBI's tactical team has the perimeter. We breach on their signal. They waited. 7:58, 7:59, 7:60. All units breach, breach, breach. The world exploded into motion. Teams crashed through every entrance simultaneously. Flash bangs detonated. Shouts filled the air. FBI, nobody move, get on the ground. Marcus dropped through the roof access. Shadow right behind him. They landed in a storage room and burst through the door into the main hall. Chaos. Men in suits scrambling, agents tackling suspects, gunfire erupting from somewhere to the left. Marcus scanned the room looking for anyone who might be Cardinal. Then he saw him. A man standing perfectly still in the center of the chaos. Silver hair, tailored suit, eyes like ice. While everyone else panicked, he watched with an expression of mild amusement. Like he had expected this all along. Their eyes met. The man smiled. And then he ran. "Cardinal's moving east exit." Marcus sprinted after him, Shadow outpacing him within seconds. The man was fast for his age, weaving through corridors, knocking over obstacles, heading deeper into the building. Shadow track. The dog bounded ahead, disappearing around a corner. Marcus followed. He found Shadow standing in front of a closed door, growling. Marcus kicked it open. Inside was an office. Empty, except for a desk, a chair, and a laptop. The man was gone. But on the laptop screen, a video was playing. Cardinal's face filled the frame. "Hello, Officer Webb. If you're watching this, it means my lieutenants have served their purpose. Sacrificial lambs to buy me time. By now I'm already on a plane to somewhere you'll never find me." Marcus's fists clenched. "But I wanted to leave you with something. A gift, you might say. A reminder that no matter how many battles you win, you'll never win the war." The video cut to a different image. A photograph. Marcus's photograph. Standing at Annie's grave. "Your daughter was beautiful. Such a tragedy what happened to her. A drunk driver, wasn't it, running a red light? Such a senseless way to die." Marcus's blood turned to ice. "But here's the thing, officer. It wasn't senseless. It wasn't random. It was planned. No. 3 years ago, you were getting too close to one of my operations. A small-time operation, really. Nothing major. But you were asking questions, poking around, becoming a problem." Marcus couldn't breathe. "So I solved the problem. One phone call, one driver, one accident, and Officer Marcus Webb stopped asking questions." The room spun. "Your daughter died because of you, Marcus. Because you couldn't leave well enough alone. And now you've done it again. You've poked the bear. You've destroyed my network. You've cost me millions of dollars and years of work." Cardinal's eyes burned with cold fury. "So I'm going to return the favor. Not today, not tomorrow, but someday when you least expect it, I'm going to take something else from you, something precious, and you'll spend the rest of your life wondering when the hammer will fall." The video ended. Marcus stood frozen, staring at the blank screen. Annie, his little girl, his everything, murdered because of him. Shadow whined and pressed against his leg. Marcus fell to his knees. 3 years of grief, 3 years of guilt, 3 years of wondering why he couldn't protect her. And now he knew. It wasn't an accident. It was an execution. And he had been the target all along. "Webb." Sarah's voice came from the doorway. "Webb, we got 11 of them, but Cardinal escaped. There was a tunnel under the building. He had a whole escape route planned." Marcus didn't respond. "Webb, are you okay?" He looked up at her, tears streaming down his face. "He killed her, Sarah. Cardinal killed Annie." "What?" 3 years ago, the car accident. It wasn't random. He ordered it. To stop me from investigating." Sarah's face went pale. "Oh God. Marcus. He's out there. Somewhere. Planning his next move. Waiting for the right moment to strike again." Marcus stood up slowly, wiping his eyes. But he made a mistake. "What mistake?" "He told me the truth." Marcus's voice hardened. "He gave me a reason. A purpose. Something to fight for beyond saving strangers' children." Shadow barked, standing at attention. "I'm going to find him, Sarah. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care how far I have to go. I'm going to hunt him down, and I'm going to make him pay for what he did to Annie. Webb, this guy, has resources you can't imagine. He could be anywhere in the world by now. Then I'll search the whole world." Marcus knelt beside Shadow, running his hand through the dog's fur. "He thinks he broke me. He thinks this revelation will destroy me. But he's wrong." Shadow looked at him with those intelligent brown eyes. It just gave me a reason to never stop. 1 month later, the Riverside Community Center had been demolished. In its place, construction crews were building something new. A children's advocacy center, funded by donations from across the country, named after the 23 children who had been rescued from the warehouse. Emma Sullivan cut the ribbon at the groundbreaking ceremony. She was smiling now. Not the broken, terrified girl Marcus had found tied to a pavilion post. A real smile, a healing smile. Her mother Linda stood beside her, tears of joy streaming down her face. "Thank you," Linda said to Marcus afterward, "for everything, for giving me my daughter back. Thanks, Shadow. He's the real hero." Emma knelt down and hugged the dog. "I'll never forget you," she whispered. "Never." Shadow's tail wagged. Marcus watched them, feeling something warm spread through his chest. Hope. Despite everything. Despite the truth about Annie. Despite Cardinal's escape. Despite the war that still lay ahead. Hope. Sarah approached with 2 cups of coffee. "Penny, for your thoughts." "Just thinking about the future. Any good? Better than the past." His phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. Marcus opened it. A photograph. Cardinal sitting in a cafe somewhere sunny, smiling at the camera, and beneath it, 2 words, "Game on." Marcus showed it to Sarah. "He's taunting you. He's making a mistake." Marcus pocketed the phone. Every message leaves a trace. Every photo has metadata. Every contact creates a trail. "You think you can track him? I know I can." Marcus looked at Shadow. "We've done the impossible before. We'll do it again." Shadow barked in agreement. Marcus walked toward his car, the dog at his side. Behind him, children played on the new playground equipment. Families gathered, laughter echoed through the air. This was what he was fighting for. Not revenge, not vengeance, justice. For Annie, for Emma, for the 23 children in the warehouse, for every child Cardinal had ever touched. He opened the car door. "You ready for another hunt, partner?" Shadow jumped into the passenger seat. Marcus slid behind the wheel and started the engine. The road stretched ahead, long and uncertain. Cardinal was out there somewhere. Waiting, planning, preparing his next move. But so was Marcus. So was Shadow. And this time they wouldn't stop until the hunt was over. Not until every last monster was brought to justice. Not until every child was safe. Not until Cardinal faced the reckoning he had been running from for 30 years. Marcus pulled onto the highway, Shadow beside him, the morning sun rising over the horizon. The hunt was just beginning. And Officer Marcus Webb and his faithful partner Shadow would never, ever give up, because that's what heroes do. They keep fighting. Even when the darkness seems endless. Even when the enemy seems unstoppable. Even when the cost is everything they love. They keep fighting. For the innocent, for the voiceless, for the children who deserve a chance to grow up safe and loved. That was the promise Marcus made at Annie's grave 3 years ago. That was the promise Shadow had helped him keep. And it was a promise they would both honor until their very last breath. Because sometimes the greatest heroes don't wear capes or carry shields. Sometimes they wear badges and walk on 4 legs. And sometimes a single police dog can change the fate of countless innocent lives. That was the truth. And it was shocking, beautiful, and absolutely unforgettable.